Good evening, viewers in Massachusetts and viewers around the social media. My name is Ronald Bernard, and I am an expert in development. I am here at MCTV for the third series of Dialogue with the Candidate. Dialogue with the Candidate, it's a platform that MCTV created to have the candidate to come and they can share who they are and their political agenda and what they would like to accomplish, and in return to improve people's life. So this evening, I am very glad and great because we have with us Mr. Robert Sullivan. Good evening, Mr. Robert.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. So Mr. Robert Sullivan is running for mayor in Brockton. And as we have already had other candidates come and, talk and introduce themselves. So now, Mr. Sullivan, how about you introduce yourself to the audience of MCTV who are listening to you now?
Sure. Thank you, Ronald. So my name is Robert Sullivan. Born and raised in the city of Brockton. My wife is from Brockton. We're raising our three wonderful children in Brockton, and they attend Brockton Public Schools and Trinity Catholic Academy in the city. I went to Brockton High School. I then went on to Boston College to get my undergrad degree. Then I went to law school to the New England School of Law in Boston and got my law degree. And then I went back to Boston College to get my MBA degree. I ran in 2005 for city council, and at that time I ran for council at large, serving the whole city, which is 7 wards and 28 precincts. And to be honest with you, people said, don't waste your time, you can't win, nobody knows you. We did it the old-fashioned way. It was me and my dad, and we just knocked on doors, and we won citywide. And since that time, I've been reelected every 2 years. I've topped the ticket, meaning I've gotten the most votes the last 10 years. So I've been on it 14 years. I am the city council president. I've been elected by my peers. This is the 4th time that I've been the council president. And I just love Brockton. I mean, it's home, and it always has been, it always will be. And now with the untimely and sad passing of Mayor Bill Carpenter, I'm running. I'm a candidate for mayor. We have an election coming up. As you know, it's a nonpartisan. Okay. Democrat, Republican, unenrolled independents can vote. And it's a preliminary on September 17th. They'll take the top 2 people that would then be fortunate enough to go into the November election. Okay.
Thank you, Robert, for the introduction. And as you just mentioned, based on all the experience you have as the city council, and now why you decide to go for mayor? Why?
So I've been asked probably for the last 5 elections to consider running for mayor. By many people, and it's a wonderful honor to be asked. But with a young family, it just wasn't the right time. I believe now we're really at a paramount in the city of Brockton. And you need to elect a mayor, which in essence is the CEO of a business. Brockton's budget this year was over $440 million. So when you elect a mayor to serve you at City Hall, you really are electing a CEO to run a business. Which again, it's the school department, it's the police, it's fire, it's public safety, and DPW. But I decided now is the right time because we're on a path right now. We have really wonderful investment in the city of Brockton, hundreds of millions of dollars downtown that Mayor Carpenter was working with the city council to develop. Outside developers are coming into Brockton. We have internal developers. We need to keep that train going down the track. We need to make sure the development in the core of the city is working, but also expand throughout the city of Brockton, all around. And I just believe that, my leadership and my skill sets and my experience and my education, I've done 14 city budgets. I've worked with 4 different mayors. The current mayor is Mayor Rodriguez. I just thought now was the time, and we're running a very positive campaign. It's overwhelming, the support. And everybody that runs should be applauded. It's a daunting task, it really is. And at the end of the day, we just hope that the Brockton voters go out on September 17th. And, I feel that I'm the best candidate at this time to make sure business is to make sure that everybody in the city of Brockton feels that they have a voice. It's inclusive for everybody. Mm-hmm. And I learned that years ago when my mom and dad, and they're still in Brockton, and my in-laws are still in Brockton. You work hard, you do the right thing, and you feel good about making a difference.
Okay, thank you. And the confidence, I can see the confidence, the way you talk, the way you explain,
thank you.
About your desire to serve and help Brockton. So currently, for instance, if you're elected as the mayor of Brockton and in, let's say, 100 days while you're elected, like, can you share with us like your top two priority for the city?
The first thing I would do, I was asked this the other day at a candidates forum, what would you do if you were elected mayor? The first thing I would do would invite the whole community. I'd call it a community engagement meeting where we have all sectors, young, old, diversity, everybody at the table, because either you're a business owner in Brockton or you're a resident, and you have a vested interest. And I want to hear different voices and different opinions and ideas. Is a sharing of ideas. One thing that I've learned, maybe it's going to law school, you have to be a good listener. And you also have to learn your skills and your experience. I don't have. You share your ideas, I share my ideas. And you're not going to make everybody happy. I understand that. But if you work hard, and you're saying the first 100 days, I concur that you need to really hit the ground running. And again, with my experience, I believe I'm going to do that. There's no lag time. You can't. But I think you need to look at education. I'm a product of the Brockton Public Schools. Graduated from Brockton High in 1988, a long time ago.
Okay.
But it's a different day now. When you're having kids in a classroom with 35, 38 kids, it's not good for the students and it's not good for the teachers. So Brockton needs to get its fair share of Chapter 70 funds, Chapter 90 funds, making sure the lottery fund reimbursement is coming back properly with Brockton. And we're not getting that right now. So I think we need to look at having a clean city, a safe city. Need to look at overtime, some cost containment measures where we can maybe take some money and get some more police on the streets and get some more fire and get some more teachers. I think there's a lot of things that need to be done, but the only way that it can be achieved is if we work collectively, we're all in it together. If I'm fortunate enough, I would just be at the top as the mayor, but it's everybody with a vision. Like, we can do better in Brockton, and some people say, oh, you're not a realist. Well, if you don't try, you're never going to achieve that goal. And the goal is to make sure that Brockton is the best community. If you're paying your taxes and you're enjoying the community, it can be better. Perception's reality. So when you drive into the city and you see litter on the streets or potholes, we could do better than that. It's quality of life issues. So, what I would do is day one, I would invite everybody in the community, let's get together and let's just share ideas, because again, some of the senior citizens and veterans that I've helped in the past, we thank them. We wouldn't be doing anything without them. They have ideas different than a teacher that's at the Hancock School in Brockton or Trinity Catholic. So it's not really date specific, like what we do in the first 30 days, 50 days, 100 days. It's what are you going to do collectively in total? And again, I'm asking people, I've been knocking doors every day. I just love to serve. I volunteer. I coach. I'm not a great coach, but I coach baseball, basketball, and soccer in Brockton. I've done it for years. And it's about giving back. That's what my mom and dad taught me, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. Okay.
Thank you. And for everybody who's listening, it's you are at the MCTV Multicultural Television Network. We are with Mr. Robert today, who is running for office as a mayor in Brockton. And we have this dialogue, as we mentioned. It's to inform the public. They can know who's running for office, their agenda. They can know what their plans are for the community or the city they plan to serve. So, Robert, as we've been talking, so many people running for the same position as mayor of Brockton. So what makes you kind of outstanding or different than the other candidate in terms of either your policy, the thing that what makes you unique?
So I think if you look at, I've served 14 years as a citywide elected official, and it's not how long you've served, it's what have you done, what have you accomplished, right? Show us what you've done. And I'll just tell you a couple things. I used to be the town attorney in the town of Randolph for 5 years, and I learned at that time that the street lights throughout Massachusetts, so in the city of Brockton, we were paying rent every month to National Grid. But you can buy the lights from National Grid for a cost savings. I went to Mayor Belzotti at the time and mentioned it, and we spent $42,000 to buy the street lights. Guess what we saved? $650,000 year one, over $500,000 in year. These are annual savings. So it's again, I brought it forward, but all the colleagues on the city council, we collectively worked together, and then the mayor supported it. So I think, it's experience, but it's accomplishment. I mentioned the seniors and veterans. I drafted an ordinance, a law where veterans and seniors that own real estate can volunteer time in the city of Brockton, at the library, the schools, wherever, and then they'll get a price reduction on their real estate tax.
Wow.
It makes a big difference. Chapter 40R, which is called Smart Growth Zoning. So before I ran for city council, I served 2 years on the city planning board. And I was speaking to the planner at the time, and I said, what can we do in Brockton to make a catalyst for development? Like, what is it? What mechanism can we use? 40R, Massachusetts general law, allows a municipality, city or town to be adopted. So when I got elected to the city council, I brought it up, and we adopted it. And since that time, there's 5 areas in the downtown where we adopted 40R. So we had a $30 million investment with Trinity Financial. Vincente's, which is a wonderful supermarket, did a natural expansion, multi-million-dollar expansion. And now we're seeing a lot more development in the core, and we're adding on that. So I applaud people that run for office. It is a challenge, and it's a sacrifice, especially if you have young kids. But you do it for a purpose and a reason, and I'm just asking people to look at me. My website is www.electrobertsullivan.com. Please look it over, vet it out, offer criticisms, suggestions, ideas, because at the end of the day, I want to serve everybody in Brockton, not one ward, not one precinct, the entire city of Brockton. So I think experience matters, and I think, proven experience. My slogan is leadership for Brockton's future, and it means something to me personally and to my family. We're looking at Brockton's future, not for the present, but for our kids. How can we make the community, the City of Champions, a better place to live and work? And I think you need to elect the right people at this time.
Yeah, definitely. We need the right people in the right place, because this is what kind of makes, things moving.
That's right.
So I remember you mentioned throughout the conversation that, unfortunately, Bill, passed away, and he has been doing, great thing in Brockton in order to help the city. So are you planning to continue his vision?
I am. I think, again, what Mayor Carpenter was doing, and the current mayor, Mayor Rodriguez, is following that as well, is if we don't continue in a positive manner, we're going to take 10 steps back. So if I am fortunate enough, with my experience and with the footprint that's been laid out, we need to continue that, right? Because if we increase our tax base, it's better for everybody in Brockton. But I also want to make sure that businesses that are in Brockton, first of all, feel like they should stay in Brockton. Okay. We need to extend a welcome hand to them. And that's all businesses. It's the small businesses, it's the big businesses, and it's also to bring business in. There's a thing called a TIF, tax incremental financing. We've done that to bring different businesses, Crown Linen, Keneally Foods, a couple auto dealerships to Brockton. And I think what we need to do collectively is the mayor, the city council, the school committee, we all need to get together and brainstorm and figure out, okay, who feels that they're not being served properly? And I'll tell you, code enforcement, in my humble opinion, needs to be enhanced. It's not being addressed properly, and it needs to be across the board. Again, it's quality of life. People expect a good community. So I just think that, what Mayor Carpenter was doing, and Mayor Balzotti, and Mayor Harrington, and now Mayor Rodriguez, we need to continue that focus. But I think also, whoever gets in as the next mayor needs to make sure that you learn from the fire chief, the police chief, the DPW commissioner, but more importantly, the people that live throughout the city of Brockton. I go to the Tri-Parish, Our Lady of Lourdes, and I hear every Sunday at Mass, people come up to me and say, "Counselor, I have this issue." And the biggest thing that I take satisfaction is, on Monday, you address the issue. You can't fix it overnight, but you can work. That's why you run. It's called public service.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Robert.
Thank you.
And for all the viewer, it's the dialogue, and this dialogue is to inform you, and as much information you could have from people who's running for office, you can make your informed decision when you go to vote. So as we're going to be at the end of this dialogue we just had, how would you make your case? What is your last word? This is what I'm trying to tell. What is your last word for people who are listening to you in Brockton and people all over the social media, so you can lay out your,
No, thank you. First of all, I want to thank you for having me on. This
You're
has been a
welcome.
great dialogue, great conversation,
Thank you.
learning experience, and you're very good at your job, so thank you. I've won races and I've lost races. I ran one time for state representative. I lost by 13 votes. So when they say every vote counts, every vote matters, 100% I agree with that. And I also think that now it's summer month, it's August, and people really aren't thinking about September, right? Once the kids get back to school and vacations end, that's like the last crunch before you get to the preliminary. What I'm going to ask people in Brockton, people that are registered voters, please consider me, but look at what has Robert Sullivan done as a city councilor at large serving the whole city, number one. Number two, I'm from Brockton, my wife's from Brockton, and we care about Brockton. When we graduated from college, we didn't move out, and a lot of my friends did. It's home. And again, I take great pride and satisfaction in being an elected official. It means a lot. So when I ask you for your vote and I ask for your consideration for vote, again, I'm just encouraging everybody. September 17th is a very important date in Brockton because it really is going to determine who goes into November and then ultimately who is going to serve as mayor and who is going to serve as a city councilor and who is going to serve as a school committee member. So if people could consider me, look at my track record, and again, remember that I believe experience and leadership matters when you're talking about the role of a mayor in the city of Brockton. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert, and thank you for everyone who are listening. It's the third series, and we have with us Mr. Robert Sullivan, who's running for mayor in Brockton. So, good evening, everyone, and thank you for listening.